What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I did this with cheapies the other day and you guys seemed to like it, so I figured we'd cover the range. We did cheapies, we're going to do clones today, and then we're going to do niche here in the next couple of days as well. So if I was starting over, knowing what I know now, having an appreciation for certain clones and such, what's the first ones I would buy? What is the first 10 I would buy if I was starting over? We covered which 10 cheapies I would buy first, not counting the Middle Eastern clones. So which clone fragrances would I buy first? Let's discuss. Stay tuned. Starting with one that's just my taste, impressed me so much from Fragrance World, Parfum. This was a super easy choice for me because it's the Y DNA. It's Y Le Parfum. It's a little bit spicier than the real deal, a little bit creamier in the dry down than the real deal, but overall, pretty spot on. Great performance, aldehyde, citrus, apple, crisp, spicy ginger, clean and musky. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance. I'm such a fan of this one. We've actually done 2 giveaways with the membership, the channel membership for the live stream. 2 months in a row. This was the second prize spin for the All-Star tier. Definitely click that down below if you're interested in checking that out. But 2 months in a row we gave this away because we tend to do the channel favorites when it comes to stuff like that. But I digress. The fragrance is fantastic. That was just a quick little fun fact that ties to this one. If you maybe don't want to spend the money on Y Le Parfum, this is the one. Sure, if you know, if you're cool with spending more than 30 and you just want to get the real deal, yeah, by all means, I would agree. Do that. But if you want to go with the more affordable option, and it's pretty much the same fragrance, the quality is the same, the scent profile is almost spot on, and the performance is what and what, for 30 bucks, I think they did a great job, and this is probably the very first one I would reach for to go pick up and start building my collection over. It's Parfum from Fragrance World. This next one is supposedly a clone of a K. Ali fragrance, Eden Juicy Apple, I believe is what it's called, from this year. As far as new releases, this is Bade'e Sublime from Lattafa. Huge fan of this fragrance, guys. You gotta like fruity rose. Smells like Hawaiian punch mixed with rose. Great performance. God, that's a delicious smell. Like I said, it smells like Hawaiian punch. Shout out to my man Derek Hicks. He's the one that coined that term, and it's spot on. It straight up smells like fruit punch, Hawaiian punch. Pick your poison. That's what it smells like with rose. A little on the feminine side because of the rose. There's a little bit of jasmine, but I don't really detect any jasmine. Nice soft woody nuance as it dries deep. A pretty linear and straightforward fragrance. Lychee, plum, and apple dominate this fragrance. Super fresh, fruity, and sweet. Just enjoyable. Mindful of the sprays. This one will choke you out if you spray it on the heavier side. It's gotten much more affordable more and more as the year has gone on. It's in the 20-some odd dollar range at this point from the link down below. I'm going to try to have links to all of these down in the description if you want to check any of them out. But this is another one that was one of the first that came to mind because I would have to have this one. If I'm starting over and I'm buying some clones, I'm definitely going to have me a bottle of Bade'e Sublime from Lattafa. So we're going right back to Fragrance World with this one because it's extremely accurate of what I believe to be one of the best designer iris fragrances out there. It's a clone of Le Parfum. This is from Fragrance World. Essencia, Homme Le Parfum. This is pretty much spot on. Warm, spicy, powdery, ambery. Oh, they nailed it. They nailed it. I know it's kind of weird. We got 2 Fragrance World designer clones, but they're just that accurate for the 29, 28 bucks, whatever it is, that you can get them for. So good. It has that tonka bean sweetness, which kind of intensifies that powdery iris because it's more of a fantasy iris note, that makeup bag, waxy, super powdery type stuff. If you don't like super powdery, you won't like this one, but I definitely do, and it's pretty much spot on to Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Parfum. I mean, you really don't need to spend the like 80 bucks on the 4.2. You can get a 4.2 ounce bottle for right around 80. I think that's what I paid if I remember correctly. Whereas this 100 ml, I believe it's 100 ml. Doesn't say. I believe it's a 100 milliliter bottle for like 29, 28, 26, 31, right around that. Right around 30 bucks, we'll call it. Performance is what well above average in that 7-8 hour range in longevity. pretty much, you know, maybe a little bit weaker, maybe a little bit better depending on your skin, but right around 8 hours in longevity. Very loud, very sensual fragrance. Great for the evenings, great for the cooler weather, great for anybody that likes powdery floral iris and sweet tonka bean with some warm spice. You can't go wrong here. I would have to grab this one because it's just so good. Essencia Homme Le Parfum from Fragrance World. Speaking of powdery iris, I figured we'd just do the powdery iris fragrances back to back. This one's from Paris Corner. This was one of the most impressive fragrances I've picked up this year. This is Pandora Scents Camaro Homme Intense from Paris Corner. Smells like vintage Dior Homme Intense. It doesn't have all that crazy vanilla sweetness. It's more of a soft leather, woody, slightly musky with some vanilla smell of the older formulations. This is a good fragrance. Super waxy. Way more waxy. Just as powdery as the previous fragrance we talked about, but so waxy. More that lipstick smell. That is a turnoff for some, but those that like Dior Homme Intense, even newer versions of Dior Homme Intense, will like this one. It's a great performer. It's hit or miss. I know you got to blind buy it to get it, but I'm a fan. And just because I'm a fan doesn't mean you're going to be a fan. So blind buy at your own risk. This one I would have to get immediately though. I think it's fantastic. I actually like this more than Dior Homme Intense because I have a newer formula of Dior Homme Intense, the last version before it switched to the 2020 formula, and that's super sweet. It's good. It's really good. I'm a fan, but it's so much sweeter than this version, which makes me like this one more. I like my sweet designers, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to iris, I kind of like spicy and woodsy more with my irises than just super sweet. And this one nails it down. I'm a huge fan of this one. I would have to buy this if I'm starting over and getting some clones. I'm absolutely going to have to get myself a bottle of Paris Corner's Pandora Scents Camaro Homme Intense. Sticking with Paris Corner, I have never smelled YSL Babycat. I really need to get my nose on it though because the clone's phenomenal. This is again from Paris Corner. This is in their Emir range, which is very widespread apparently. This is Rifakat, I believe is how you say that. But this is a peppery, smoky, sweet vanilla. The vanilla stands out, but there's so much other nuance. There's a cedarwood note that really stands out early. A lot of like black pepper, pink pepper combo at the top. So you get a little bit of a brightness to it because of the pink pepper. There's an elemi resin here that adds some creaminess, but I don't distinctively get an elemi thick creamy smell. There's just a light creamy tone to this one, but incense. You gotta like incense if you're gonna spray this. It's so delicious. For being as spicy as it is, it's perfectly unisex. I don't think this leans all that masculine, and definitely does not lean feminine to me for having the pretty hefty dose of vanilla. It's more of a dry vanilla than a super sweet, thick and creamy type of vanilla. It's almost like a dusty, powdery, dry vanilla a little bit, and that could be attributed to some of the other notes supporting it. Maybe the cedar is kind of drying it out a little bit. Who knows? But it smells fan-frickin-tastic. It's a great performer. It's perfect for the cooler weather that we've started to transition in. I would have to get this one. It just smells too good. There's others I could have put here, but this one just smells too good to be omitted. It's got to be one of the first ones I would go for. And that's Paris Corner, the YSL Babycat clone called Rifakat. One of the most complimented fragrances in my collection. It's my personal favorite, affordable option when it comes to something kind of like Creed Aventus. This is Armaf's Club de Nuit Intense Man, limited edition Parfum. I'm such a fan of this one. Let me get it to focus. It's starting to. That mirrored background's not helping. But there you go. That way you can see the name clearly. This is beautiful. I had it on my hand the other night. Wife loves the way this one smells. I'm a huge fan. So I love the EDT. I never found the opening to be all that harsh. That, lemon pledge smell, super synthetic lemon that people have always talked about over the years. I always found it kind of charming. It never bothered me. Here it's way smoother. It's more of a candied lemon, but you still get all that smoky magic of the original. Some other fruits and citruses going on, but a beautiful smoky, slightly floral, sweet, and a little woodsy smell. So it's not exactly Creed Aventus. It's definitely a twist on Creed Aventus. It's clear that they're going for Creed Aventus. And this may be blasphemy to some, but I like this more than Creed Aventus. I just do. I'll reach for this and the other versions of Club de Nuit Intense Man more than my 19S11 batch, because you have to throw your batch code out there when you talk about Aventus, apparently, because it's a thing. My bottle of Aventus, which I do cherish, my bottle of Aventus. It's good stuff. But I just like how freaking dark and smoky the Club de Nuit Intense Man fragrances are. And this one is the king of that particular mountain, in my opinion. Not just because he gets a lot of compliments for me, but I just love to smell myself. It's natural that I would want to get this one first. It's one of my favorite fragrances in my collection overall, let alone one of my favorite clones. So definitely would have to grab this one quick, fast, and in a hurry. Club de Nuit Intense Man limited edition Parfum. So I just wore this one like 2 nights ago. Again, I did a review on it recently. I keep going back to it since I got it. It's such a great fresh fragrance. So good. Paris Corner's Vibrant Vetiver Delight. I love this fragrance. Supposedly their take on, why is it not focusing? There we go. Byredo's Bal d'Afrique, which I don't think it smells exactly like Bal d'Afrique, but to me, it smells like Sprite with some vetiver, basically. This is so good. I get so excited to smell this one. Sharp lemon lime zest. It's just so good. A little bit of white florals going on here. This is such a great, casual, fun, just invigorating, lively type of scent. I love smelling this fragrance. I would have to grab this. There was another fragrance. We actually have an honorable mention at the end. There's technically 11 fragrances in this video. I had that one, and then this caught my eye, and I said, holy crap, I can't leave that out. I would have to buy this right away. That's how this ended up. Like, it was slipping my mind. This is too good to not grab immediately. This is the only real, like, fresh citrus fragrance in this video, because even though it's bergamot and lemon, it smells like lemon lime. It smells like that color. It's fresh, it's vibrant, as the name would indicate. It's so invigorating and fun. Like I said, fun, casual, easygoing, a little playful, without having any real sweetness. And it's a solid performer, too. I just love this fragrance. I would absolutely have to get this one pretty much right away. It's Paris Corner's Vibrant Vetiver Delight. One of my favorites. This is a goodie. If you like plum, you'll really like this. SCENTual Obsessions. This is called King Andy, the newest version of their Andy Warhol clone. There we go. Nice and focused, called King Andy. It dials back some of the oud funk and makes it a little bit fresher, but it still has that beautiful sweet plum smell. Nice and ambery with a bit of spice. Super powerful still. It's a pure parfum. I believe it's a little over 30%, if I remember correctly. It's good stuff. I have older versions of it. This is a newer version. This is still great. Like I said, livens up the opening a bit by dialing back some of the oud funk. So this will actually speak to more people probably than the previous versions. But you want to talk about highly complimented. Man, this works magic. And then it's a big confidence boosting type of scent profile, because you know you're standing out with a scent profile like this. It's loud, it's present, it's juicy and sweet, while still having a bit of an animalic feel to it to make it more interesting than a typical fruity sweet fragrance. This is a special one. Absolutely a special one. Probably some of you assume this would be in here because I have praised SCENTual Obsessions, different versions of Andy Warhol from Bond Number 9 over the years, and that's never going to change. Kevin does a great job with these. So I would absolutely have to get King Andy, the Bond Number 9 Andy Warhol clone from SCENTual Obsessions. This next one is so good, it's the reason I'll never buy the Tom Ford. And yes, I understand Tom Ford technically cloned 4711. I get it, because somebody's going to say that in the comments. I know, I understand. But Al Haramain's Portfolio Series, Neroli Canvas, this is a goodie. If you haven't tried this, in my opinion, you haven't tried the best clone of Neroli Portofino. There's a lot of good ones out there. My wife's really digging Citrus Neroli from Dossier. She's been wearing the hell out of it. But this is a monster performer. The quality is top tier. It's right up there with that private blend fragrance to me. Orange Blossom, Neroli. Oh, just so good. A little bit of vetiver and greens. I believe there's some petitgrain in here. This is what it gives that green smell. With some citrus. This is so good. Perfectly unisex. Some guys would say it's too feminine for them because it's Orange Blossom and Neroli. It's a bunch of white florals. Orange flower smell. I get it. And a little soapy because of the Neroli. But for me, phenomenal. I would have to get this one. This is one of the more expensive clones in this video. This is like a $70 or $80 fragrance from discounters. from Al Haramain. Believe it or not, it's pricey for being a Middle Eastern clone where a lot of their fragrances are much more affordable than this. But this particular series, the Portfolio series, is, and I try not to use this term lightly, but a bunch of bangers. I have Royal Stallion from them as well, which is Parfums de Marly Pegasus. That's like, it's very difficult to tell the difference between that and the original. Whereas same goes here, just way better performance. I would have to get this one. This is my favorite Neroli fragrance of all the different fragrances I have that are dominated by Neroli. The best one, the one I would have to get, Al Haramain's Portfolio Neroli Canvas. You've heard me talk about this one a lot on the channel. Recently I've talked about it, and this is one of those few times that I say just get the clone over the original, because I do think the clone's better. It's cloning Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultra Male. It's Afnan 9 p.m. 9 p.m. I think is just smoother overall. It's a nuclear performer for me personally. It's fruity, like the apple replaces the fresh fruity pear smell of the original, which the pear note is special in Ultra Male. I think that's the most discerning, enjoyable part of the top note, but the way the apple comes across with the spice and everything, it's just so freaking good. This is so good, so smooth and rich. Compliment getter. It's so good. Everybody can enjoy this one too. It might be a clone of a fragrance that's called Ultra Male, but it's ultra modern male, I guess you could say, because it's a very much leans a little feminine because it's so sweet. So I can see how some guys wouldn't care for this, but if you like sweet designer-like fragrances, this is one of the best ones out there, and it's actually better than the designer that it's cloning, and you can get it for like 25, 28 bucks, something like that. Really affordable these days, even in the low 30s. I think it's a steal at that price point because the hype is real in this one. This fragrance is awesome. It would have to be one of the first 10 for me. Again, that's Afnan, 9 p.m. And a brief honorable mention, because it was in the place of Vibrant Vetiver Delight until I realized, holy crap, I can't leave out Vibrant Vetiver Delight. But Khadlaj Shiyaaka. This, if you've ever liked anything about Reflection Man from Amouage, this is a slightly more yellow floral dominant take. It's not on the same quality tier as Amouage, but it's pretty damn close in scent profile. Performance is great. This is my favorite from the house. This is my favorite Khadlaj fragrance. Infini Absolute's a really good take on it, like a woody spin on Aventus. If I didn't have an Aventus, my favorite Aventus clone in here already, that would have probably made it, because that, like, after these first technically 11, that's when I'd start getting into stuff like that. But this is a good one, guys. Herbal green, woodsy, a lot of petitgrain, orris, a little bit of neroli. It's not real soapy, but there's a little bit of a soapy characteristic to it, and I definitely attribute that to that neroli. But this juicy white floral lang-a-lang smell stands out a little more than in the real deal, because it is pretty much the same note breakdown. There is lang-a-lang in Reflection Man. It just doesn't stand out the way it does here. So that's the only thing I've ever really noticed that's different in the scent profile, aside from a quality standpoint. And it's not leaps and bounds greater quality than this, but it is better quality. It's Amouage, guys. Amouage I hold in very high regard. That's a phenomenal niche house. But for the money, this is pretty damn hard to beat. I don't know if I didn't have Reflection Man already, if I would still get it, because this is just so accurate and so good. So an absolute honorable mention. After the first 10, this is the 11th one I'm buying, I guess is how you could look at it, is Khadlaj Parfums, Shiyaaka. Well, that's my 10. If I'm starting over, the first 10 clones I'm buying, technically 11, is going to be these, just like I did with the cheapies. Until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. For those of you that like the clones, what would you grab first? Knowing what you know now, starting your collection over, which ones would you go for? Definitely let me know down in the comments. I'm quite curious to see what you guys come up with. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of the ones I would start with first, and you give them a spray now, there's always that chance you might thank me later. Have a good one, guys.